Okay, so this man came after me.
I cared about Kiana. I did a lot of things for her.
And I told him, like, okay, well, you know, I like to be taken care of.
Including, you know, paying for her things that she didn't have.
I like to be provided for. He agreed to everything. He even...
And that's the way it was.
Made sure I had money on a specific day, every day.
She was taking advantage, exactly.
He did that on his own.
I got closure that I've been wanting for a very long time, so I'm happy with the verdict.
So, what do you think?
You know, number one lesson I've learned since being here: don't co-sign, don't co-own anything with anyone that's not your legally married husband, wife, partner, because these problems arise all the time, and courts don't want to be involved in people's petty relationship drama.
Right. We don't want to decide whether those are your underpants or somebody else's underpants.
Exactly.
You know, my father used to say, keep it simple, stupid. Use the kiss it principle. Keep it simple. You're absolutely right. I'm glad you learned the lesson.
My experience with Empire was amazing. The price that I got, along with the service, the special attention, the one-on-one, you can't beat that.
800-588-2300 Today, in the 608, weekdays only on News 3 Now this morning.
Wisconsin Broadcasters. Local, trusted, connected.
The First Warn Weather Team takes you beyond the barometer, only on News 3 Now. This is News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon and welcome to Live at 4. We begin with some developing news. The Dane County Sheriff's Office is investigating a death after someone found human remains this past weekend.
On Sunday, a hunter found the remains in the area of County Highway Y and Loper Road. This is in the town of Roxbury. The Sheriff's Office says an autopsy was completed on Monday, and now the medical examiner's office is working to identify the person. This is a developing story. The Sheriff's Office says they'll provide more information when they can. To get updates directly to your phone, you can download the free Channel 3000 mobile app.
Let's get a look at your first warn forecast. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joins us live at the Greater Madison Area Chamber of Commerce with your forecast. Looks like you're pretty swanky there, Alex.
That's right, Brady, and kind of a nice day to be inside the Monona Terrace. Even I can see Lake Mendota and Lake Monona from here, because it's chilly out. We've definitely moved into those fall-like readings across the area. Let's take a look at our temperature right now here live downtown, courtesy of Upland Hills Health for our capital cam. We've got 49 degrees out there right now. Definitely a day for a jacket with those northwesterly breezes. I can see the breezes kicking up the water just a little bit over Lake Monona right now, and it's a chilly one, and that leaves us ahead for a chilly night tonight across southern Wisconsin. Current conditions again right around 50 degrees here in Madison. And again, those temperatures are going to be moving on down eventually as we carry on through the rest of the evening as we plan our night here. Madison, Monona Terrace, and the rest of southern Wisconsin. Already by 10 o'clock, temperatures will be in the upper 30s across the area. Let's look at some of those temperatures we have across southern Wisconsin. Right now, we got 49 in Madison, low to mid 50s over southwestern Wisconsin. But as soon as the sun sets, which will be soon, those temperatures will continue to tumble across the area overnight tonight. We have freeze warnings for most of southern Wisconsin until 9 o'clock Wednesday morning. A hard freeze is expected tonight with lows in the mid to upper 20s. If you're looking at Juneau and Adams counties and tuning in and wondering why aren't we under a freeze warning, we've already had frosty conditions and enough freeze conditions already this year that the freeze warnings are for counties that have not experienced a hard frost or widespread freeze at this point at the time of this year. But coming up in Maine weather, we're going to talk to Eric Greenfield, one of our folks here at the 71st Chamber of Commerce event. We're going to get a little bit from Eric letting us know what to expect this evening. Back to you folks in the studio.
Alex, thank you. We will talk to you soon. New at 4, former President Barack Obama and Democratic vice presidential nominee Governor Tim Walz will campaign in Madison next week.
The Harris-Walz campaign says that visit will be next Tuesday, the same day early voting begins in Wisconsin. The pair will hold a rally encouraging voters to get to the polls early for Vice President Kamala Harris. Walz and other Democrats on the ballot.
And we are just 3 weeks out from Election Day. Republicans are pouring money into the U.S. Senate race between Democratic incumbent Tammy Baldwin and her Republican opponent Eric Hovde.
The GOP has invested $21 million in ad buys through Election Day. The majority of that money comes from the Senate Leadership Fund, a super PAC aligned with Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Meanwhile, Democrats are slated to spend $15 million between now and Election Day. The race is a toss-up and could determine whether Democrats maintain the majority in the Senate. You can hear from both candidates later this week. Baldwin and Hovde will face off in their first and only debate Friday night at 7:00 p.m. You can watch right here on News 3 Now and our sister channel, TVW. We'll also have debate coverage with expert analysis before and after the two face off. You can watch that on our streaming app, Channel 3000+.
On to more 3 for the People coverage. We've previously covered how many of us have been bombarded with text messages from campaigns asking for our vote, which are perfectly legal, if not annoying.
But one college student found one she found vaguely threatening, which could be illegal. Her mother spoke with Arman Rahman, warning others not to have messages like these keep you from the ballot box. Arman?
Brady and Maddie, it's an election many are calling high stakes, which is why Sarah Gold's daughter became nervous when she got this text randomly on her phone from a Wisconsin number. It warned her not to vote in a state where she wasn't eligible for fear of legal and financial repercussions. Gold's daughter is 21 years old and is registered to vote in Wisconsin, but attends school in Tennessee.
That came to her apropos of nothing, out of the blue, and she was panicked. Think of how many young voters, elderly voters, new voters in period might be very intimidated and in fact not vote if they receive something like this.
Now, Gold said this didn't stop her daughter from voting absentee, and according to Wisconsin law, any false device or tactic intended to impede or dissuade a person from voting can be ruled voter intimidation, which is a felony. Local elections officials have to send any reports of potential election fraud or irregularity to the district attorney. And Madison's city attorney tells me this is the second instance in just a couple days where someone received a message from this number. Hear what he says you should do if you get this text or one similar tonight at 5.
Thank you, Arman. For people in Middleton, you'll find a referendum on your ballot asking you to maintain the current stormwater utility tax. Middleton taxpayers approved a temporary increase in utility rates in 2018 to pay for repairs following the devastating August flood of that year. That flood left damage throughout the city's stormwater management facilities, including ones within the Pheasant Branch Creek corridor. If the referendum fails, the tax would revert back to pre-2018 levels.
In order to have a diverse, high-quality natural area like Pheasant Branch Conservancy, we need to make sure that the water that's flowing into it has been slowed down and cleaned up before it gets to the marsh. Because if it's bringing pollutants and sand and other sediments into the marsh, all our work that we've done to restore the Conservancy is going to be for naught.
The referendum would make it so all property owners, not just homeowners, foot the bill for funding the stormwater utility. Well, families and children have been a major topic of discussion on the campaign trail. Both sides of the aisle are acknowledging the need for more affordable childcare or more childcare options.
That's why our Jalen Banks joins us now with whether these have resulted in people opting out of starting families in recent years. Hi, Jalen.
Hey, guys. As we've seen recently, Vice President Harris on the campaign trail saying if she's in office, she would ensure a child tax credit up to $6,000 when a family has a new child. And on the other side of the aisle, Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance saying there should be more options in child care when receiving federal money, such as being able to put that towards your local church or community members when taking care of your children. The sentiment being child care and options are expensive and at times limited. And speaking to one family physician, they say they have seen a shift in the desire for people wanting to start families.
Less of the younger adults, and when we do talk to younger adults, it seems to be pretty congruent with what's been, presented in the media with the reasons why younger people are not having either as many or any kids now.
According to the CDC, birth rates for women ages 20 to 24 declined 7% from 2021 to 2022. Now tonight at 5, we'll have more on birth rates, not only in the state of Wisconsin, but birth rates in our area.
Jalen, thank you. Still ahead on Live at 4, the USDA is being investigated.
And why viruses on your household items are actually helpful. That's when we come back.
Kamala Harris is going to significantly raise taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
To build the Honda CR-V Hybrid, we took everything you love about the CR-V and kicked it up a notch with greater power for a CR-V unlike any before. Adventure confidently with Honda, Car and Driver's most awarded brand in 10 Best history. The CR-V and CR-V Hybrid, part of the Honda line of rugged vehicles. Visit your local Honda dealer where new vehicles are arriving daily. Buy online or reserve from select Honda dealers.
Hi, my name is Damian Clark. If you have both Medicare and Medicaid, I have some really encouraging news that you'll definitely want to hear. Depending on the plans available in your area, you may be eligible to get extra benefits with the Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. Most plans include the Humana Healthy Options Allowance, a monthly allowance to help pay for eligible groceries, utilities, rent, and over-the-counter items. The Healthy Options Allowance is loaded onto a prepaid card each month, and whatever you don't spend carries over from each month. Plus, your doctor, hospital, and pharmacy may already be part of our large Humana networks. So call the number on your screen now and ask about a Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. And remember, annual enrollment ends on December 7th. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
These Baldwin ads are nasty.
I can't stand them.
She never tells the truth. Now she says Eric Hovde wants to raise the retirement age.
That's malarkey.
I saw in the news Social Security will be going bankrupt in 8 years.
Are you kidding? We need Social Security.
You're surprised? Washington spends money like crazy.
And Baldwin supports all of it.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
You better get a job.
You get a job.
I'm Joan Ballwig, and here at the shop, we have solutions, both big and small. And that's why I fought in Madison for historically large increases for our fire, police, and EMS, and made sure that our small businesses had the permits that they needed to operate. I delivered millions for ag and rural road funding and created the one-day fishing license. I brought both sides together to make sure that our kids can both read and write. And those are both really big things, but you get the idea.
Well, we have new information about the money school districts are getting from the state this year.
The Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction releasing those numbers today. General school aids are the largest form of state support for pre-K through 12 schools in our state. The 2023-25 state biennial budget increased funding for those aids for this year, bringing the total to more than $5 billion. Most general aid comes in the form of equalization aid that's distributed in a way to help communities educate kids despite differences in property wealth across the state's school districts.
Of those more than 400 school districts, 66% will receive more aid this school year than they did last year. A third of Wisconsin schools will receive less. For Madison, general aid increased by more than $20 million, or about 62% from last year. Monona Grove got a 20% increase, almost $4 million more than last year. Meanwhile, the Middleton Cross Plains Area School District received less general aid this year by more than $500,000, or 3%. Waunakee received less general aid this year too, but only by less than 1%.
Walgreens will close 1,200 of its stores, including 500 within the next year. The closures represent a significant escalation from a few few months ago when Walgreens announced it would shut down 300 underperforming locations across multiple years. Those closures are included in the 1,200 Walgreens announced today, but it's unclear whether any of the new closures will affect Wisconsin.
Boeing is turning to major banks and Wall Street to raise tens of billions of dollars in cash. The company announced plans to borrow $10 billion from numerous banks. It also separately announced plans to raise $25 billion by selling stock and debt. Last week, the company's CEO announced plans to cut 10% of its worldwide staff. That's more than 170,000 workers. The move comes as the company contends with massive financial losses from an ongoing strike and scandals due to operational and safety problems.
The Biden administration says it's invoked wartime powers to speed up the rebuilding of a major American factory wrecked by Hurricane Helene. That factory is responsible for some 60% of the nation's IV supplies. The damage has led to a nationwide shortage of IV fluids, with hospitals postponing some surgeries as a result.
The state of Texas is set to kill a man who says he's wrongly convicted of murder more than 2 decades ago. Robert Robertson was convicted of killing his 2-year-old daughter in 2003. Doctors diagnosed her with suspected abuse or shaken baby syndrome. Robertson's attorneys say the child died of pneumonia that became sepsis, and that her illness was made worse by medicines now known to be unsuitable for children. Today, a judge rejected 2 efforts to halt Robertson's execution, and now his attorney is begging the governor for help.
If you aren't familiar with the facts, but you are familiar with the controversy, just give us 30 more days to make our case to the public.
Also at play in this case, undiagnosed autism. Robertson was diagnosed with autism in 2018. His attorney says that's what was responsible for what police at the time called suspicious demeanor. If Texas's governor does not step in, the state will kill Robertson by lethal injection Thursday.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture's Inspector General is internally investigating the agency's handling of the deadly boar's head outbreak. The outbreak led to the deaths of at least 10 people and sickened dozens more after USDA inspectors turned up dozens of violations at the company's Virginia plant. The inspector is looking into whether federal investigators and Virginia state inspectors responded appropriately to dozens of reports at the factory dating back at least 2 years. The USDA Inspector General has not commented on the matter.
The Washington Post reports, oh, sorry, Maddie.
That's okay, Brady. The Washington Post reports Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has a plan to attack Iran's military sites in retaliation for a missile strike 2 weeks ago. This as the U.S. plans to send Israel its most advanced anti-ballistic missile system and American troops to operate it. But the Biden administration is also threatening to withhold aid from the country if it doesn't improve humanitarian conditions in Gaza within the next 30 days. Human rights groups say Israel's implementing a surrender or starve strategy that would seal off aid to northern Gaza in an attempt to starve out Hamas. That plan would trap hundreds of thousands of civilians unable to leave their homes without water or food.
What we have seen over the past few months is that the level of humanitarian assistance has not been sustained. In fact, it has fallen by over 50% from where it was at its peak. There are provisions under U.S. law that require us to make certain certifications, and to make those certifications, we have to see that Israel is not arbitrarily denying humanitarian assistance, making it into Gaza.
Miller said he could not speak to what the consequences will be for Israel if more humanitarian aid doesn't get to Gaza.
Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington, live from Monona Terrace at a very swanky party. He's in his Sunday best right now. Look at him.
I try to spiff up as much as I can. Joined here with Eric Greenfield, who is a communications manager for the Greater Chamber of Commerce of Madison, talking tonight about the 71st annual event. And Eric, tell us, for someone like me, I've never been to an event like this. I'm pretty excited, so thank you for having me.
Yeah.
What can I expect at an event like this?
Absolutely. So this is our 71st annual dinner, as you mentioned. We have a record number of registered attendees this year. 1,270 plus, and it sold out in about a week or so. And so we're very excited to have people here tonight. It's the largest business event in Greater Madison, and what we've got is we've got just a fantastic lineup of speakers. We've got our keynote speaker coming up tonight, Dr. Jonah Berger. He's a best-selling author. He's a world-renowned expert on language. He's going to help inspire us to make the case for a Greater Madison tonight.
And we were just talking a little bit earlier, if we can take a little peek behind us here, that folks are networking right now. We've got businesses, new businesses that have been around for a while. Tell us a little bit about the networking that's going on in the businesses that are here.
Yes, and so, as I mentioned, it's the largest business event in Greater Madison, which means great opportunities for networking, and it's a very diverse crowd here tonight. And it's really indicative of where we're going as a business community. It's a great snapshot of where our economy is going. One of the biggest things that we're talking about tonight is our theme is Vantage, and it's talking about not only where we've been and where we are, but also where we're going as an economy and as a business community. We're expecting upwards of 300,000 new residents in the next 25 years. We're growing rapidly, and so really what we're going to be talking about tonight and challenging attendees to do is to help us envision the future of Greater Madison and how we can address some of the challenges that come with that kind of growth trajectory.
Well, it's very much appreciated having us out, and thank you for having me, being again a first participant.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated. We'll see you a little bit later in the evening as we convene downstairs. So
sounds good.
Appreciated.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you. All right, time for the weather here. As we know, frost and freeze conditions are just about ready to take hold over southern Wisconsin, with those frosty conditions lasting overnight tonight, and then probably again tomorrow night too for parts of southern Wisconsin. That's part of the three things you need to get out of the forecast. 50-degree temperatures lasting through Wednesday. That's a little bit below normal for this time of year. But if you want the summer-like weather, the 70s are going to make a return back to southern Wisconsin. Planning our evening here, 6 o'clock, Monona Terrace, temperatures right around 45, 46 degrees. When you join Jacob tonight at the 10 o'clock newscaster, temperatures will already be in the 30s. And when you have those clear skies out there, that allows that radiation to go right out to space. That means temperatures are going to cool down, and that's why we have a freeze warning really for the entire viewing area, except for Juneau and Adams County. And I've gotten some questions about this. Those folks up in Juneau and Adams counties, you've already seen frosty and freeze conditions this year. That's why you're not under this freeze warning. It's for areas of southern Wisconsin that have not seen those frost or freeze conditions yet. That's why we have the warning in place. Temperatures starting off mid to upper 20s. That's that hard freeze. About 26 degrees for a few hours is considered a hard freeze. I was talking to my dad, who's a farmer in southwest Wisconsin, and they're appreciative of having this freeze from the crop perspective. We do the 50s again for high temperatures as we go into Wednesday, and then we'll see those mercury readings go back down into the middle 30s, maybe lower 30s to the east of Madison. Look at north and west of Madison, though. Temperatures a little bit warmer up towards La Crosse in the upper 30s to near 40. That's the start of warmer weather that's going to be moving back into southern Wisconsin. Coming up a little bit later in our 4 o'clock hour, join us again. In my next weather, I'll talk about those warmer temperatures that are expected to move back into southern Wisconsin. But until then, live at Monona Terrace, getting ready for the 71st Chamber event here in Madison. Alex Harrington, News 3 Now.
Alex, thank you very much. Well, it might not be something you want to think about, but the truth is viruses surround all of us. And new research is shedding light on little-known viruses that live on things you use every day.
Doesn't that make you just want to wipe down this whole thing? Okay. Don't worry, everyone. Don't panic, because researchers say these microbes could actually save lives. A study found something called bacteriophage is all over our shower heads and toothbrushes. Yeah, while that sounds bad, these viruses won't make you sick. Instead, they infect bacteria. Here's why that's important.
For a long time, we've relied on antibiotics to be able to treat infections and save lives. But right now, antimicrobial resistance is one of the biggest public health challenges that we're facing globally. And so there's a lot of hope that we can leverage things like bacteriophage to help treat these infections that we can no longer treat with antibiotic drugs.
Researchers say these phages and what we could learn from them could lead to better drugs and improved technologies. We'll be right back.
Protect and enhance your home with an 11% rebate on your roofing project. Menards has an unbeatable selection of Atlas architectural shingles. Castlebrook, Briarwood, and Pinnacle all feature a super wide design for fast installation, limited lifetime warranty, and up to 130 miles per hour wind warranty. Choose from 20 styles in stock, ready to take home today. Get an 11% rebate on all Atlas shingles right now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
4 years ago, in this alley, rioters threw a brick at my face and knocked out my teeth. Why? Because I was a police officer. And what did Kamala Harris do? While America's cities were burning, Kamala was defending peaceful protest. She raised millions to help bail rioters out of jail and supported defunding our police, making us all less safe. Kamala Harris is dangerous.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
We know we cannot have a strong middle class without American manufacturing. Under Donald Trump, America lost nearly 200,000 manufacturing jobs. His record is a disaster for working people. Under my plan, we will invest in the industries that built America, because ours is a fight for the future. I come from the middle class, and I will never forget where I come from.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
My late father-in-law lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had AMD. I didn't know it then, but it can progress to GA, an advanced form of the disease. His struggle with vision loss from AMD made me want to help you see warning signs of GA, like hazy or blurred vision, so it's hard to see fine details. Colors that appear dull or washed out. Or trouble with low light. That makes driving at night a real challenge. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to gawon'twait.com.
Join us at the Madison Fall Parade of Homes, exclusively sponsored by Nuns. Don't miss your chance to visit the area's top newly constructed homes filled with the latest trends and technology. Go to MadisonFallParadeOfHomes.com and purchase your tickets today.
For 3 years in a row, Chevy has earned more J.D. Power Initial Quality Awards than any other brand.
1, 2, 3.
Whether it's a high-tech SUV, the all-electric Equinox EV, or a truck for work or play, Chevy is America's most awarded brand for new vehicle quality. Or qualified lessees can get this Equinox LT for around $299 a month. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today.
In the 608, we have an update to our Coats for Kids drive as we tabulate all of your donations by our News 3 Now viewers.
Josh Sprider is here in studio with what comes next.
First off, a huge thank you to everyone who contributed to this year's Coats for Kids collection. We know our weather can change from summer to winter in an instant, and when it does, we want to make sure everyone has a warm coat in their closet. Although we haven't received our grand total from this campaign yet, our current tally from all the Clinky Cleaners locations stands at 2,918. That includes an additional 115 coats purchased on our Amazon wish list. We still have tabulations pending, though, and hope to announce our final grand total for this year's campaign on Distribution Day next Friday, October 25th. So for those who need a warm coat to wear this winter, this is happening from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. on the 25th at the following Boys and Girls Clubs locations: the Allied Family Center in Fitchburg, along with the Erica and Anthony Fleming Boys and Girls Club in Madison, and the Mackenzie Family Boys and Girls Club in Sun Prairie. If you are interested in lending a helping hand on Distribution Day next Friday, the Boys and Girls Club would be happy to have you. You can sign up for a shift right now. I have the contact information with links for volunteers, along with all of this other info up right now on channel3000.com. This was our 39th year for Coats for Kids. Over the last almost 4 decades now, we've collected more than 355,000 donations from you at home. We want to once again thank our sponsors, Clinky Cleaners, the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County, and Magic 98 for making it yet another successful year. In the 608, I'm Josh Sprider, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Josh. I do love seeing that generosity in all of our communities.
I know. It's so great to see. 39 years, that's a long time.
Yeah, here's almost to 40. Coming up on Live at 4, a conversation with Madison School Superintendent about why 2 employees are on leave.
Plus, which factors contributed to the record-breaking hurricane that hit Florida last week. We'll be right back.
Emmy,
What?
don't get confused. Stay on the path.
I am already confused. Welcome into your Midwest Money Minute. You all know Mr. Matt Coupland. You know, we try to think of creative ways we can tie in some fun entertainment with some real life education on finances, right? That's why we're here at Schuster's Farm out in Deerfield, because navigating a corn maze and navigating your finances are really a lot alike. In what ways?
Well, imagine when you go in, you don't know where you're headed to, right? And so if you could see the maze from the top, you'd know exactly how to get through safely the other side. But retirement's the same way. You don't know where it's gonna go, where a dead end may pop up, but our job as financial planners is to more or less make that map for you, to guide you through, get you to the other side, get you around those obstacles. So I guess in that regard, it's kind of similar.
And it's also not a quick thing. You don't expect to go in here and be out of this maze in 10 minutes. Getting a financial planner and really taking your finances serious, it doesn't happen overnight.
No, it's a process, and it should be enjoyable, which is what this should be as well. But the fact is, it's a lot more enjoyable if at the end you know that there's a way through. If you do get lost, you can find your way out. From year to year, it changes, just like out here, right? So that's where we come in and we keep that plan intact and guide you through.
I love it. So what do you say we go try it out?
Yeah.
And if we don't make it out, we yell for Nate, and he's gonna come find us. What do you think?
That's why we got a cameraman.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we bring him along. I think we're close. Yes, this is it.
Hey, well, and if you need help navigating your financial maze,
call Matt and his team at Midwest Financial Group. They'll get you out of any corn stalk. I'm Emmy Fink.
you're buzzed into Madison.
You can get him out of corn stalks, right?
We'll try.
He murdered a father of 3, sentenced to life in prison. Kamala Harris pushed to use tax dollars to pay for his sex change.
I made sure that they changed the policy so that every transgender inmate would have access.
It sounds insane because it is insane. Kamala was the first to help pay for a prisoner's sex change.
The power that I had, I used it in a way that was about pushing for the movement, frankly, and the agenda.
Kamala's agenda is they, them, not you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Yeah, that kind of sums it up today.
It
A very
really does.
fall-like day.
Very fall-like. It was really windy out earlier.
Yeah, and we're not really used to it because summer keeps kind of creeping in.
In the next 24 hours, it looks like it's going to again.
Look at that. Get your crock pots ready. Hey, Alex, what's going on?
That's mine. Hey there, Brady. Hey there, Maddie. What's going on here downtown, Monona Terrace? The 71st annual Madison Chamber event is going on tonight. Area businesses are networking right now. You want to tune in at 5 o'clock too for my main weather. I'm going to be talking to the Vice President of the Greater Madison Chamber of Commerce, Kevin Little, a little bit more about the event. But how about a little bit more about our weather here? I'm glad I'm inside because I'm not quite acclimated yet to the chilly weather myself. Last night I went for a walk and I was all bundled up. Let's look at our potential for frost and freeze. I think this is a really nice graphic to show because tonight, Wednesday, Tuesday night going into Wednesday morning rather, our low temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 20s, so a hard freeze is likely tonight. Then as we march into Wednesday night going into Thursday morning, we warm those temperatures up into the lower 30s, so still a potential for frost as we go into Thursday morning, but by the time we get to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, our low temperatures go up into the 40s to near 50 degrees, and that's going to be accompanied with warm high temperatures. In my main weather, I'm going to show you how warm the mercury, how warm the thermometer is going to get during the daytime coming up in just a little bit. In main weather coming up a little bit later in the half hour here. So frost and freeze potential likely tonight. We got 49 in Madison right now. Our Upland Hills sky cam showing clearing skies. Hold on to that here as we plan the rest of our evening. Temperatures dipping down to around 38 degrees when you join Jacob at 10 o'clock. Temperatures across the rest of southern Wisconsin, we're all in the upper 40s to the lower 50s. So we're chilly for this time of year. Normal highs are closer to 60 degrees. Those lows tonight are going to get down into the 20s across much of southern Wisconsin. And here's why. Our Dodgeville Upland Hills Skycam showing clearing skies. And then as we look at our Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville, clear skies. That allows that heat to go right out to space. Light winds, perfect recipe for having that hard freeze tonight across much of southern Wisconsin until 9 o'clock Wednesday morning. Again, I want to call this out. Juneau and Adams counties, you're not in this hard freeze because you've already experienced frosty and freeze conditions already this year. Sometimes we get those questions. But coming up in Maine weather in a few minutes, I want to transition us out of the fall-like weather. If you want the summer-like weather, I got that back in the forecast too. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Alex. An elementary school on Madison's south side has faced some turmoil with the principal and assistant principal both on leave.
That comes at the beginning of a new school year, the first for Joe Gothard, as he becomes the head of Madison schools. Political reporter Will Keneally sat down with him and has more.
MMSD Superintendent Joe Gothard confirms to us that the principal and assistant principal for Southside Elementary are on leave pending an investigation. Now, while that investigation is ongoing, he tells us that the district's priorities are clear.
There's a number of different investigations, each of them kind of being conducted independently, so we can have the best, outcomes, results that come to us to, to make an informed decision. We've got to gather a great deal of information at the same time. Focus on supporting Southside and educating children every day.
Now, Gothard wouldn't share many details about the investigation, including how long he thinks it will take, nor who is conducting the investigation, but he says he is working with third parties outside the district. Now, this is part of a longer conversation that we had with Gothard. We'll have more tonight at 6 and later this Sunday on For the Record. Reporting from Madison, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Will. We are a week out from when Hurricane Milton made landfall.
And now that this tropical cyclone has taken its course, our Merrill Hubbard is here to give us the science behind these severe storms in the south. Hi, Merrill.
Yeah, Maddie and Brady, Hurricane Milton reached a new record in how quickly it went from a tropical storm to a Category 5 hurricane. We could boil down 3 elements that make a perfect tropical cyclone. 1 is low wind shear, 2 is high moisture in the air, and then 3, the primary source of fuel for hurricanes is warm water temperatures. When we look at the trajectory of Helene and Milton, they both developed in the Gulf of Mexico, where the water temperature is currently 7 to 8 degrees higher than what is considered normal during this time of year. Earlier today, I spoke with local scientists who studied at UW-Madison's Atmospheric, Oceanic, and Space Sciences to learn more about the role climate change has on the intensity of hurricanes.
Global warming, the greenhouse effect is heating the atmosphere. And the ocean, of course, responds to the air above it, right? It doesn't generate its own heat. It equilibrates.
In addition to how strong a storm can get from warmer waters, there's also evidence that climate change can affect their tracks as well. Coming up tonight at 6, we will hear more from local scientists and learn more about the human impact on climate change.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Merrill. Wall Street falling today from its records. The Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ all down as the price of crude oil and technology stocks falter.
Well, it's been under construction for more than 2 years. Today, UW Health held a ribbon-cutting ceremony for its new East Park Medical Center.
Our Kyle Pozorski was there and shares some of the features of the state-of-the-art facility.
UW Health has been working on this facility for more than 2 years, and now we're getting a look inside. The more than 475,000 square foot, 7-story high medical center located east of the interstate features a slew of care types and options, some seen only in a few other places throughout the world. Dr. Pete Newcomer, UW's COO, explains how having oncology care, an infusion center, and upright proton therapy all under one roof will improve patient care.
They can see a specialist in one clinic, they can get an image, an MRI or a CAT scan in another, they can get their infusion in our infusion bays if they need that, and they can get another consultation in the same day. So really wrapping our care services around a patient rather than making them go from place to place.
Meanwhile, outside, the largest solar canopy in Wisconsin sits atop the parking lot, helping to power the facility and improve sustainability. Other on-site amenities include a pharmacy complete with a drive-through, as well as gardens and a cafe. All told, UW Health says East Park is the largest medical facility to be completed this year in the United States, with room to grow in the future. On Madison's far east side, Kyle Pozorski, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Kyle. East Park Medical Center will officially open to patient care on October 28th.
Well, next on Live at 4, you could say mushrooms are having a moment, gaining attention for their use beyond the kitchen.
Well, they're so famous. Whether the claims of significant health benefits are true. Up next.
At Harker Heating and Cooling, you can save a whole bunch of money when you buy a furnace. You know what's even better? Saving even more money when you purchase a furnace and an air conditioner at the same time.
Harker Heating and Cooling.
He murdered a father of 3, sentenced to life in prison. Kamala Harris pushed to use tax dollars to pay for his sex change.
I made sure that they changed the policy so that every transgender inmate would have access.
It sounds insane because it is insane. Kamala was the first to help pay for a prisoner's sex change.
The power that I had, I used it in a way that was about pushing for the movement, frankly, and the agenda.
Kamala's agenda is they, them, not you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Building that middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. Compare that to Trump. He fights for himself and his billionaire friends. He intends to enact a national sales tax, the Trump tax, that would raise prices on middle-class families by $4,000 a year. Instead of a tax hike, we will pass a middle-class tax cut that will benefit more than 100 million Americans.
FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Fry Construction has done it again. For the 5th year, we've won the prestigious Best of Madison Award, and it's all thanks to you. To celebrate, we're offering 29% off our exclusive Absolute Gutter System with any full roof or siding project. Our gutters are custom fabricated on-site for a perfect, seamless fit that's engineered to excel. Don't just beautify your home, beautify it with the experts you trust. Call Fry Construction today and let us show you why we're the best of Madison.
Discover a level of comfort you never thought possible. Discover stressless seating at the Century House. Designed to harmonize with your body's natural movements, it's the premier destination for relaxation and rejuvenation. Right now, take 10% off all stressless recliners, sofas, tables, and ottomans. The Century House, 3420 University Avenue in Madison.
At Harker Heating and Cooling, you can save a whole bunch of money when you buy a furnace. You know what's even better? Saving even more money when you purchase a furnace and an air conditioner at the same time.
Harker Heating and Cooling.
New at 5, why more young adults are waiting to have children or choosing not to start families at all. From rising costs to shifting priorities, we explore what's driving that trend.
Coming up at 5, I'm live at the 71st Annual Madison Chamber of Commerce event. I'll let you know when frost chances end and when 70-degree weather returns.
And ahead at 6, Wisconsin, where hurricanes never hit, is leading the way in hurricane research. Tonight we examine the cutting-edge technology used to track Hurricane Milton's record-breaking power. That's at 6.
Welcome back. If you hadn't noticed, mushrooms are having a moment.
They sure are. Along with finding them in the produce aisle, you'll see them in snacks, broths, supplements, even coffee or tea.
You put them in your soup, don't you?
I do like them in soup, yes.
There you go. Well, Consumer Reports says the popularity is well-deserved. Michelle Renee Quinn tells us why.
Is really excellent for immune function.
John Michelotti is a fun guy. He leads workshops educating people on everything from foraging and identifying to learning how to grow mushrooms.
I think we are just starting to scratch the surface of the potential of mushrooms. It is a super exciting time for mushrooms.
Sales are growing like, well, mushrooms, and with good reason. While different types of mushrooms have different amounts of nutrients, they are really good for you.
Mushrooms can be great sources of potassium, selenium, and antioxidants. Plus, they provide some fiber, and some types are rich in vitamin D.
Mushrooms have been part of Eastern medicine for thousands of years and are the leading dietary source of an antioxidant known for its role in supporting the immune system.
With these extracts, you can...
Today, people who want to use mushrooms to address specific health concerns typically turn to supplements.
There's been some preliminary research to support some of these claims, but what works in the lab or in mice doesn't always apply to humans. More studies are needed.
If you are interested in taking a mushroom supplement, check with your doctor, especially if you have a medical condition, as some can interfere with medications. Want to try growing your own? The easiest way to get started is to buy a kit online from a mushroom kit company. CR liked these kits from North Spore and Forest Origins. There are so many varieties to try, each with a unique, deep, savory flavor, making mushrooms a great substitute for meat. But there are a few tricks to getting that rich, meaty umami flavor. Don't start off with oil in your pan. Instead, use a little water and cook the mushrooms until they're relaxed, and then add a little oil or butter to help them get crispy and brown. Just keep in mind that nutritionally, mushrooms are much lower in protein than meat, so you may want to pair them with a plant-based protein source. This is Michelle Renee Quinn.
Mushrooms are very sustainable too. They grow with minimal water and produce a high yield on a small plot of land. They do add a lot of flavor to
They're so
soups.
good. I've always liked mushrooms.
Are you going to have them as a snack now? Or?
I don't know if like by themselves as a snack. I'll put them in something.
Okay, okay. Well, keep us posted.
Okay, I will. Well, 1 in 4 U.S. adults suspect they have undiagnosed ADHD.
We're looking at a new survey and talking with Dr. Jeff Potoff about some of the reasons why and the treatment that's available.
Kamala Harris is going to significantly raise taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Are undocumented immigrants that are the least likely to commit a crime.
Meet Edwin Ramos. This illegal immigrant murdered 3 Americans. An MS-13 gang member, Ramos was arrested for a gun crime, but as DA, Kamala didn't prosecute him. Months later, Ramos murdered a man and his 2 sons in cold blood.
Are undocumented immigrants that are the least likely to commit a crime.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Prices are up, wages are down, inflation is crushing Wisconsin families. Yet Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Even more radical, Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. Tax hikes and higher prices for families and those living on fixed incomes. That's Kieski's record. Expensive and extreme. Reject Sarah Kieski and her radical agenda.
Career politicians like Peter Barca will say anything to get elected. His latest negative ad against Brian Style, it's been called blatantly false. The truth, Style has always supported IVF. He co-sponsored a resolution supporting IVF. And Style backs legislation to help families afford IVF. Peter Barca can sling mud, but we deserve better than just another lying career politician.
I'm Brian Style, and I approve this message.
100 Republicans who worked in national security for Presidents Reagan, both Bushes, and for President Trump, now endorsing Harris for president.
She came up as a prosecutor, an attorney general, into the Senate. She has the kind of character that's going to be necessary in the presidency.
Vice President Harris is standing in the breach at a critical moment in our nation's history. We have a shared commitment as Americans to do what's right for this country. This year, I am proudly casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Former generals, secretaries of defense, secretaries of the Army, Navy, and Air Force, CIA directors, and National Security Council leaders under Democratic and Republican presidents, Republican members of Congress, and even former Trump administration officials agree there's only one candidate fit to lead our nation, and that's Kamala Harris.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
It is the St. Louis airport. I knew it.
Look at that. Do you feel like a getaway
Yeah.
to St. Louis, at least to the airport?
57 and partly cloudy. Ooh.
It's feeling like fall down there, too.
I bet. Well, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, may be more common than we think. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates about 15.5 million adults in the U.S. are diagnosed with ADHD at some point in their life.
But a new survey shows about 25% of American adults think they have undiagnosed ADHD. Dr. Jeff Potoff is here, and he will be talking with us about this topic. Hello.
Hey, guys.
So why do so many people think that they have ADHD?
I think we've popularized it in a sense, and if you actually take the time to go look at the DSM criteria for ADHD, there's a whole bunch there, any one of us could probably pick out one or two of those, and you're like, that totally applies to me. The thing with real ADHD is they have a good number of those, and then it starts to really negatively impact their lives. That's kind of the difference between the folks who think, you know, I've got a few traits and maybe I've got ADHD versus other people who actually have the disease. It's pretty distressing. They struggle with it, oftentimes need treatment up to and including medications to kind of be successful in getting through school or work or things like that.
And why is self-diagnosis, kind of what you were just talking about, why is that detrimental?
I think it's detrimental because it's pretty easy to go online and either, you know, find one of those like pop quizzes, you know, you answer the question, it's like, surprised you got ADHD. Those are not reliable. But even if you go to the DSM and you try to apply it to yourself, that's not the same as having a trained therapist, a medical professional, go through both like the criteria, how it's impacting your life. There's some trickiness to actually making that diagnosis, and it's a big deal if you actually do have it, so you kind of want to get that right and make sure that if you need treatment, you know, you actually would qualify for it, would be good for you.
So for, what was it, 25% for these adults who think that they have it, but it's not been diagnosed, I've read that it usually develops in children, but can it develop in adults, or are they just missing that diagnosis when they were kids?
So technically, no. To get diagnosed, you can have this look back. So maybe you weren't diagnosed as a kid, but as an adult, if you're thinking you have ADHD, you want to look back, and those symptoms or those things, those traits should have been there by about age 12. If it developed later in life, there are other mood disorders, things like that, that can sometimes mimic ADHD that are probably a more likely diagnosis for you than true ADHD.
And when we talk about our attention spans, a lot of people will point to social media and our phones having affected our attention spans. What connection does that have?
Yeah, this is a good point. So there's certainly this like genetic connection with ADHD, but then there's this environmental component, which is exactly what you're talking about. Social media, these like quick dopamine hits, being able to get in front of like changing content constantly, is kind of a thing that kind of stimulates the part of the brain that we know is responsible for ADHD. So that might be another reason for why we're seeing kind of increases in people being diagnosed with the disease, is we live in an environment now where it's really easy to stimulate those parts of the brain that kind of drive ADHD.
I think we have time for a little mini topic. Another meat recall. 10 million pounds of meat have been recalled. And listeria, is that becoming more of a concern? We keep seeing these headlines kind of a lot lately.
I'm with you. It seems like not that many weeks ago we were talking about boar's head and like tons of basically processed meats they're recalling. Now it's Bruce Pack. 10 million pounds, I think, of meat that they're recalling. You know, it's not great. I think, you know, we have to do something to try to make sure that, you know, these plants that are producing this product are not having it contaminated with listeria, just because it's probably eroding some confidence in those of us who, you know, like to eat some cold cuts as to whether or not they're safe or not. So more to come on that, but yeah, it seems to be happening more often.
All right.
Well, Dr. Proudhoff, thanks for joining us. You always answer all our questions.
You bet.
Much appreciated.
See you next time.
Well, let's get another look at our weather. Chief Meteorologist Alex joins us live on location. Hey, Alex.
Hey there, Brady. Hey there, Southern Wisconsin. I'm live here at Madison's 71st Greater Madison Chamber event at 5:15. So during the 5 o'clock news hour, you're going to want to tune in. I'm going to talk to Vice President Kevin Little a little bit more about what to expect during tonight's event, or what to expect about in our weather. I said I'd let you know when we would actually warm up. Let's take a look at our high temperature trend. Our frosty, freezy conditions tonight, and then maybe some frost again Wednesday night, but that's it. Our temperatures are going right back up to summer-like values. Look at our weekend temperatures going up into the 70s. We cool down again next week, but again, average high temperatures as you look to the right there are right around 55 degrees by the time you end the 10-day period. So temperatures are well above normal as we carry forth through the upcoming weekend and even going into the first part of next week. Let's plan our night here in Madison and really across all of southern Wisconsin. Temperatures dipping down into the 40s by the time we get to 8 o'clock, and then the upper 30s by the time we get to 10 o'clock. Current temperatures out there right now, we got 49 in Madison, 50 in Janesville. A little warm over portions of southwestern Wisconsin, but it doesn't matter where you are in southwestern Wisconsin. Those temperatures are going to cool off tonight as the sun goes down, skies are clearing out. That heat's going to go right out to space. That allows the mercury to fall very, very quickly across the area. Our frost freeze warnings across southern Wisconsin, freeze warnings for really all of southern Wisconsin. North of the Dells, Why don't you have that freeze warning? I'll keep mentioning this. It's because you've already had frost and freeze conditions this year. Areas that haven't had it are under the freeze warning for tonight. 29 for low temperature in Madison, mid-20s over portions of the Wisconsin River Valley. We'll only do low to mid-50s for high temperatures on Wednesday, which is below normal for this time of year, with high temperatures right around 60. Then we'll see the mercury go back down. Thermometers are going to get down into the low to mid-30s across southern Wisconsin as we approach Thursday morning, and that will bring that potential for frost, and then here comes summer back, or at least close to it. Temperatures back up into the 70s for the upcoming weekend. And as we go out into next week, a cold front will move through the area. Tuesday, cooling our temperatures down at least briefly for next Wednesday and Thursday. Alex Harrington live downtown Monona Terrace at the 71st Chamber event. More on that at 5 o'clock, and we'll be right back.
Joan Ballwood wants to ban abortion, even in cases of rape, incest, and when the mother's life is at risk.
And would jail doctors who perform them.
Ballwood voted to ban birth control, too, and to deny rape victims emergency contraception.
Banning all abortions and birth control? No one wants to tell you what to do with your body
more than Joan Ballweg.
But she can't tell you what to do with your vote.
Meet Sarah Kieski. You might see her walking around in her Woke Genius t-shirt. Radical, just like the groups that support her. Kieski supporters want to defund the police. Her allies want to give voting rights to illegals and make it easier for felons to vote. And Kieski is backed by a group that wants to let criminals out early. Want to know where Sarah Kieski stands? Just look at the company she keeps.
Fentanyl is one of the most lethal drugs on the market. This much can kill thousands. These deadly drugs are pouring across our border. But Biden, Harris, and Democrats have done nothing to stop it. Tammy Baldwin claims she's trying, but she's failed. She took credit for an anti-fentanyl bill she didn't write and opposed efforts to secure the border. Senator Baldwin and Democrats have done nothing, and our communities are paying the price.
I'm Eric Hovde. I approve this message.
It's a great time to have RG Heating and Air Conditioning check your home's furnace system for safety and efficiency. RG services all brands and installs quality Trane equipment to keep your home running smooth year-round. Call RG Heating and AC today.
Kamala Harris is going to significantly raise taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Take a look at this. Big pumpkins are becoming a big problem. In Ohio, this one almost squashed a police officer and a cruiser.
Well, Bay City officers responded to a report of a runaway pumpkin to find this ginormous jack-o'-lantern blowing across the road, nearly swallowing another squad car.
But with a little assistance, they got the hefty inflatable back home.
Phew. We'll be right back.
This is Good News, Madison.
Brought to you by Don's Home Furniture.
Overture Center's mission is to support and elevate the community's creative culture through the arts. So 2024 marks the 20th anniversary of the opening of Overture Center for the Arts, and we are celebrating all of what we call the O moments that people experience when they come to Overture.
And that is Good News, Madison, brought to you by Don's Home Furniture.
Out of money, I know. 20 of you, and you're rich as hell. We're going to give you tax cuts. We're going to pay you.
I am not rich as hell. I work hard. I scrape to get by. Donald Trump wants to give tax breaks to billionaires, but Kamala Harris has plans to help us. She's going to crack down on price gouging and cut taxes for working people like me. I voted for Donald Trump before, but this time I'm voting for Kamala.
FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Insurance costs going up? Erie Insurance has great coverages, rates, and claim service. And your rates won't increase because of celebrity advertising campaigns or sports stadium sponsorships. Call Affordable Insurance Solutions for your auto, home, or business quote and see what Erie Insurance could do for you.
It's no secret, Robertson is Wisconsin's aesthetic leader, but with results this natural, patients can keep it a secret if they want. Our secret to reducing stubborn body fat, Cool Sculpting Elite, the newest technology available. Book a free consultation to learn how Cool Sculpting is different at Robertson.
He murdered a father of 3, sentenced to life in prison. Kamala Harris pushed to use tax dollars to pay for his sex change.
I made sure that they changed the policy so that every transgender inmate would have access.
It sounds insane because it is insane. Kamala was the first to help pay for a prisoner's sex change.
The power that I had, I used it in a way that was about pushing for the movement, frankly, and the agenda.
Kamala's agenda is they, them, not you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Meet Sarah Kieski. You might see her walking around in her woke genius t-shirt. Radical, just like the groups that support her. Kieski supporters want to defund the police. Her allies want to give voting rights to illegals and make it easier for felons to vote. And Kieski is backed by a group that wants to let criminals out early. Want to know where Sarah Kieski stands? Just look at the company she keeps.
That wraps up today's Live at 4. Brady's in the newsroom with what's coming up.
Tomorrow on Live at 4, UW Health distinguished